Hey everyone, this is Eric Martin from the band Mr. Big, and you're listening to me on Blevins Nation. That's right, Mr. Big Mouth has left the building.
Blevins Nation Entertainment and BlevinsNation.com, the place to go for all the best in rock and roll music, new rock, and podcasts. So sit back, hold tight, and open up your ears. The revolution is here. Now here's your host, Chris.
She was bred 17 and a rides a crazy ghost. She can win the hearts of a man and turn them loose when she's done. Smiling on her while she's thinking that she never got enough.
Hi everybody, this is Chris with Blevins Nation, and we're talking with Eric Martin, singer of Mr. Big and of course Eric Martin Band. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I love when people go, Eric Martin, the singer of the Eric Martin Band. That's classic. double the exposure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a couple. Well, first of all, how you doing, Chris? You doing good?
Oh yeah, man, doing real good. Just to talk about something that you mentioned, when you were here in Cincinnati at MVP's, not just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Going to see Brandon Gibbs Friday.
I gave so much plug to Brandon Gibbs up on stage. I mean, I was talking to him like I was talking to the audience like he was, my long lost brother or something.
Oh yeah, and he was coming up next, on the stage.
Brandon Gibbs. That didn't come out right, actually. I was like, he's coming up next, like on the docket.
Yeah, exactly.
But you folks in Cincinnati are hanging on my every word. I must have got over on that one. All right.
Well, hopefully, nobody thought he was coming up, but you never know how people are. So they may have took you literally.
I keep hearing this name Brandon Gibbs a lot. This friend of mine, he's the guitar player for Faster Pussycat and L.A. Guns. His name is Ace Von Johnson.
Yes.
How about that name? I don't think he was born with that name though. I don't know. Sure, the jury's still out. Ace. I'll name you. I christen you Ace Von Johnson.
Yeah.
Could be. You never know. But anyway, he was telling me about. He went out to the Rainbow in L.A. I don't know who goes to the Rainbow anymore, but he went to the Rainbow in Los Angeles, and he just got home at 3:00 in the morning. And he goes, man, I was out with my friends, and I was texting all my friends, and I go, who are your friends? And he started rattling all, the list of rock and roll vampires at that hour.
Yeah.
And he goes, Brandon Gibbs. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, Brandon Gibbs is like the Zelig of rock and roll. He's everywhere.
Yes. That's hilarious. Yeah, I interviewed Ace a few months back. That was good times. So.
Yeah, that kid's I call him. He's one of the ones.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, man, we should start a club, the Ones. I go, yeah, he is one of the ones. Mr. Big went on the road last year, and we went out with, was it last year or the year before? We went out with a band from Ireland called The Answer, and
okay.
they're fantastic. And then sharing the bus with them was the opening act, and it was Faster Pussycat.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, Mr. Big, Faster Pussycat, The Answer. Actually, it was pretty damn. It sounds like it's going to be dangerous on paper, It sounds like on paper. Me and my convoluted lyric writing. But anyway, it sounds like it's going to be hairy. But it wasn't. It was great. It was fantastic. I mean, some of the guys that you would think would be scary didn't turn out to be scary at all. Jamie Downs, the lead singer, yeah, he decided to quit drinking, after all these years. And man, I never met the the booze hound guy, but I met this like sweetheart of a guy, and he was pretty damn talented for what they do. You know, this kind of like punk metal rock and roll. You know, and I thought he was great. I thought he was a really good personality. And then the guy that stood out the most was that Ace Von Johnson. He's just such a pleasurable kid. He's a really cool swagger rock and roll guitar player. But anyway, he is one of the ones in my book. All right, that's enough about Ace.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because if I keep talking about it, he'll be as big as Brandon Gibbs in this conversation.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, cool. Let's see here. Where do we start? I mean, you know, Mr. Big, y'all did an album in 2000. What was it? My bad. It was live from Milan. Now, was that recorded in 18? Or was it just released in 2018?
No, I think it was recorded in it could have been 18. I mean, I don't know. No, actually, you know what? It was 18. Wasn't it? I can't remember, man.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking, it was probably that festival in, y'all, shit, what's the damn name of the, Frontiers puts on in Italy? Is that when it was recorded? Maybe
it wasn't a festival. It was
okay.
It was a rock club. It was in Milan. There was a couple thousand people in there, and it was hot as balls. I keep saying that. I don't want to, mind my French, but it was baking hot. You know, like steam on the windows and just, it had kind of a gaminess in the air. It was really hot, and it was hot to be on stage. You know, when you do live rock and roll videos, I mean, they bring in way too many lights and just junk on stage. So usually our stage is a little bit bigger where we can move around a little bit. But there was all this technical gear, and then a couple cameramen and lights, camera action, and I hate that. I hate it. Like, it's supposed to be a live rock and roll show, and it kind of,
I wish
that. Those guys could be, I wish it could be heard and not seen. Just get out of the way. So get out of the way so we can act like we're doing this for real.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did the live thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it how, all the years that I've been touring, and it always has these, like, the big cities, like Milan, Rome. But is it really in Rome? Is it really in Milan? Nah, it's about 20 miles outside of town next to a strip mall,
Okay.
No, this is a little outside Milan. It was in, like, kind of an industrial, like a farming community kind of thing.
Wow.
And there's this gigantic box, and
a heat box.
I don't know how to say it in Italian, but it was probably like, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And they did. There was a couple thousand people, and it was good. It was just, one of the many rock and roll shows. It was on that same tour, The Answer and Faster Pussycat. I think that could have been the beginning of 18 or 2000. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm not the guy to look on Wikipedia. You are.
There you go. All right. Very good. I know it says 2018, but sometimes, it depending on when it was recorded, but it was released by, so. But no worries.
It was... It could have been. It had to be 2017 because Pat Torpey was there, and so it was probably it was towards the end of 2017 because I believe Pat passed away at 18. So
okay,
yep,
okay.
Well, Defying Gravity was the last Mr. Big album
Mm-hmm.
that we put out. So let's get back to your question there, statistics.
Very good. The album Defying Gravity. I mean, the song Defying Gravity is just, man, it's wicked. It's awesome. It's
Right.
not something. To be honest, because I'd never heard it until a couple weeks ago, and it was something that I just did not see coming.
Yeah, there was like this little riff that Paul had for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and like I used to say this all the time, when Paul Gilbert and Billy Sheehan, Pat Torpey, they would get together and they'd hash out all these ideas. They were never really finished tunes, and we used to call them sniglets.
Okay.
Like stuff like Dog Biscuit, but like sniglets, and they'd have hundreds of these little sniglet ideas, and they weren't literally about 90 or 100 ideas on a CD, and they would send it to me, and I basically chop it up and make 5 songs out of it. I swear to God. I mean, some of them was just like, what the? It was just a big jam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like fish. It was like big fish. I don't know, but so and there would be, but that sort of Led Zeppelin, Marrakesh Express vibe that starts off Defying Gravity. Not
Mm-hmm.
Marrakesh Express, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like an East Indian kind of funk
Yes.
Zeppelin thing. It's hard to explain unless you listen to the song, and I can't. I mean, I could play it for you right now, and it would waste a bunch of time. But it has this East Indian flavor to it, and that's one of the gems that stood out. And we were trying to come up with like some music for this new record, and sometimes I think it's okay to go back in time and borrow from a lot of those CDs or even cassette tapes from the late 80s and 90s. I still have, and I break them out, and I'm like, oh my God. And, like even when I brought the lyrics and the melody and I changed some of the music in the chorus, and I go, hey, remember this song? And Paul goes, Eric, that's great. And I go, yeah, you wrote it too. And he goes, I did? And he goes, Billy will go, hey man, if you say so, and there's a lot of that. Even, I go back in time and grab a lot of stuff. Hey, look, some of those gems are sitting on a shelf collecting dust, might as well get them out.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
But
always.
yeah, that was one of the ones that I really liked on that Defying Gravity. I mean, look, I'm not, just trying to be truthful. I mean, there's a couple things I didn't like about that record.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of the songs, even the ones I wrote, I felt like, I mean, if you know Mr. Big, and if you're a fan of Mr. Big, you've probably seen some of those videos of the making of that particular album.
I know it was 6 days.
Yeah, Billy and Paul and Pat, they were like, hey man, we love the challenge, thrown into the lion's cage. Yeah, sure, man, we loved it. I didn't care for that as much, and I vocalized my opinion. I didn't like that kind of pressure. I don't mind pressure at times, but man, I walked into that studio and I brought Defying Gravity, and I was writing Everybody Needs a Little Trouble with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of typically where the studio was, I think it was called Ocean Way or something like that, and it was in Burbank and like Hollywood, California. And right next to the studio there was a hotel, and me and Paul stayed there because we were out of towners. Billy and Pat lived in LA. Paul lived in we lived on the West Coast or North Coast. So me and Paul would get together like every morning for coffee and just kind of write some songs and then bring it over.
Okay.
And it wasn't like every morning. It was 6 freaking days, man. That's all we had together. It was because of scheduling and all that. Paul
Yeah.
going out on the road. Kevin Elson, our producer that produced all those Journey records, and the first 4 of Mr. Big, was going out on the road with somebody, or actually recording a Journey record at the same time.
Oh, goodness.
Stupid. And I mean, stupid to like, yeah, this is the window that we have. A tiny little crack in the window. Anyway, but we went in there and I showed him these songs, and all of a sudden there's a camera crew in there, like going, "Hey, so tell me about this record. What do you? How's it? How's the making of this record? How's the progress?" I'm like, I've been here for 4 hours. I don't know. It was that kind of pressure. I was freaked out. Wait, looking back on it, I should have just did what my enemies used to tell me: just shut up and sing. I should have just shut up, because when I look back on it, I looked like such a pussy on the like seeing the video and going, like I'm that guy in like Eeyore, like Bill Paxton in Alien, going, "Let her do it, man. I don't know what we're doing." That kind of thing. We're all doomed.
Now, how many songs were actually on that album? I mean, like 10?
10 exactly. I mean, I think there was one more, and there's a video that
No, it was 11. 11.
Yeah, well, there was a video that you can get when you buy the record, like a box set, not a box set, but you know what I mean, like an extra.
Right.
And it wasn't the other day, but when I watched it, I remember me, Paul, Billy, Pat, and our and the guy that was helping Pat out, sub drummer, this guy Matt Starr, and we were all sitting around the piano, and I'm playing the piano, and I was writing this song that was kind of Evanescence style, I love that stuff.
Okay.
And I was always trying to squeeze it in with Mr. Big, and was like, and I used to, like, I remember those days, those 6 days, and I go, "Come on, Paul, I mean, let's race or Rex it," I'm like out of the mouth of babes, I go, "Yeah, Racer X, man," and he's like, "No, this is I don't know about this tune," but I remember working on it for about an hour or two. And it was shaping up pretty nice. And then that didn't end up on the record. So that'll be one of the songs that are sitting on a shelf.
Exactly. Well, that's cool. Did you belt out all 11 songs in one day, or did you?
What I did was, the singer. Okay, like, so my booth was right next to the control room, and then there's a big room where the guys did it, right?
Right.
And when we recorded it live, and like we have been doing over the years.
I love doing that.
I'm sorry?
I said I love doing that doing it that way.
Yeah.
It's you get a vibe.
It's just it's a way better vibe than piecing it together like it's not. I mean, no, it's not good. I mean, like, what was, like, when we did the Stories We Could Tell album, which I really, really liked, we kind of, Billy did it at home, and I was in the studio with Paul when he was around, with this guy, Pat Regan, and then Pat was in a different studio recording his parts, that I really enjoyed that record, but it does sound separate.
Yeah, you can't feed. You can't feed off of each other. You can't feel what each other's doing. You just get that connection when you're all together.
I know, but when you've been a band as long as we have, sometimes like nobody wants to be in the same room together, you know. So I can attest to that. I mean, I loved it when I did vocals and the band was, you know, crammed in the control room, sitting on couches, and this is way before cell phones, so that you couldn't play video games or anything. You could read you could read a guitar player for the practicing musician or something, you know. But and they'd have to look at you. You know, I'd like to think in my head that they liked looking at me, or and they could critique, you know,
right.
or when a lot of times when I would sing and I'd do my thing, and I knew that I went, oh man, that was really good.
Yeah.
That fourth take was pretty damn good. And I'd look in the window of the control room, and the band would be standing up there throwing horns, you know, like, dude, that was it, right? And then, but if you knew me and my personality, I go, yeah,
I can do it better.
Let's do it 25 more times. You know?
Exactly.
And then in the end, Kevin Ellison or
use track 4.
We had Kevin, yeah, exactly. He would be like, okay, we're going to take the 4th track. and you know why that was, Chris, is because so when Billy, Pat, and Paul would track, they would take a couple weeks to track, and I would be in the control room with the producer and the engineer, Kevin Elson and our engineer Tom Size, and I'd be sitting on the couch looking at these guys jamming away because I already did my 1 or 2 guide vocal, right?
Yes.
And then I'd go, hey, you guys need me anymore? And they go, nah, we got it, you know. And I go, okay, and I'd be watching these guys for 2 weeks cutting all these songs, and I was bored out of my mind. So when it was my turn to shine, I'd be out there, and I'm not patting myself on the back, and I knew what I wanted. I wrote the parts. I had so many months of writing it, and then I had like those 2 weeks of, you know, being at the starting gate going, come on, it's my turn now. Let me jump out of the plane, you know? And so when I'd be up there, it would kind of go kind of fast, you know? Like, they'd give me like a week or something to do it. And I always stretched it out like it was a performance. And I go, let me do it again, you know? And they go, dude, you got it. It was like the 5th take or something. Dude, you got it. It's done. Let's put it in the can and move on. I go, yeah, but can I do it again? You know, they go, shut up and sing. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, were any of them? I call them scratch tracks when you do the live thing and sing in a separate room, but you're still, you know, can see each other. But did any of the scratch tracks actually make it on, or were you just basically using it as a scratch track?
You call it scratch tracks, yeah, guide vocals, scratch tracks. Yeah, on that. I can't remember that. Like on the first album, like "Blame It on My Youth" and "Merciless" and "To Be With You" probably were used like scratch tracks. You know, like I sing it like a couple times with the guys, and then they would go, "Oh, dude, man, that was a really good performance," and they would keep, you know, a good 80% of it or 75% of it. Yeah. And then they add a couple, like, okay, you know, and then I do my same MO and sing it 25 freaking times, and they go, okay, well, we're gonna take this sentence, you know. But on Defying Gravity, we only had 6 days, so Everybody Needs a Little Trouble. No. There was a couple. Okay, like Forever and Back. Damn, I'm in Love Again. Some of those ballads. I can't remember some of the tunes. Mean to Me. 1992. A lot of those were like guidebook, scratch tracks, like you said. Yeah. Because I didn't have time. Right. And so, so we only had 6 days together, and then and I think we had 6 days together as a band, and then Kevin got a couple extra days to mix, but I didn't have enough time to do the vocal, and plus some of the lyrics on, especially "Everybody Needs a Little Trouble." I was like, oh man, I need to go back to the drawing board and finish this and make it, so I could be a little happier at the end and not feel so rushed. So when Kevin had a couple extra days, him and Paul busted out all the solos in about a day or two, and they were great too. And then and Billy and Pat didn't play on the records, but Pat coached Matt.
Okay.
This is when Pat he couldn't do it. He just physically, he just couldn't do it. He wanted, mentally, he was there and he wanted to do it, and he was frustrated, but he was also like, hey man, this is the way it is. My body is telling me I can't do it.
Yeah, you can tell you can tell in the video that he was, it just wasn't really him doing it. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't. It was Matt. He did it.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that in itself, I thought Matt did an okay job. And when I say okay, I mean I heard him do better.
Mm-hmm.
But it nothing to do with Matt Starr at all. I missed the crack of Pat Torpey's signature snare and bass drum work. I just missed it because, and I'll always miss it.
Yeah.
I just nobody can compare in my mind and my feeling, my heart.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what had happened was I came home to the Bay Area where I live in a little outside of San Francisco. It's called Marin County. And I went into the studio with this guy, Chris Manning, who's the bass player of a band called Jellyfish back in the day. And he's a producer, engineer. And him and I spent 3 days. I had another friend of mine, Tony Fanucci, who, helped me write songs like Temperamental, if you're a fan of Mr. Goldberg, Temperamental, I can't remember, a couple of the older songs, and he came in and him and I wrote "Everybody Needs a Little Trouble" with our partner Andre Pastis. Long story short, the three of us are kind of working in this one little tiny garage studio, and we worked on it, and then I went right out back into the studio and sang it. So I sang about 5 or 6 songs in that studio in 3 days. And then sent it to Kevin, and he mixed it quickly and mastered it. I mean, the whole process was like 10 days. Yeah. So no, and I'm not saying I hated every minute of it.
It just wasn't a good experience.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good writing and recording experience, but it was a good get together with the guys, because we all knew nobody was stressed, everybody was happy, except me. Except me, but I didn't show it. A couple times it was like, doing the wind. I whined a little bit, but for the most part, we were everybody's cheerleader, and we were all, going, oh, I love this and I love that and I love this. And we didn't have any. There was no time to scrutinize or rewrite. It's like I listened to a song. Paul goes, "Okay, I have a song called 1992. It's kind of about us." And it's when I first started to sing it, I go, "Man, this is corny as shit, man. This is really corny." And then he goes, "No, man." And I'm not. I'm not tooting my own horn, but they would say stuff like, Martinize it. They go, just Martinize it. Like, the dry cleaning place. They go, Martinize it. And I did. I thought this was kind of a silly little idea, but it turned out to be pretty cool.
Well, hell yeah.
Pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
I totally sound like, hey, when I can't come up with an adjective, I totally sound like Miley Cyrus. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's right. That's right. Well, you did some shows and some touring. I think Japan with PJ Farley and Steve Brown of Trickster.
Yeah.
Now, who was on drums on that?
God, I wish I could tell you. No, I wish I could tell you. I can see the guy's face right now. He's a great drummer. He plays with Little Steven.
Okay. Okay.
Steve Van Zandt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of this conversation, I'm going to look him up. We only played together on that tour.
Okay.
And it was only 4 shows.
Okay.
And we rehearsed a little bit, but he was a great guy, and he's a sweetheart. And he totally wanted to impress me with coming up with all the like Mr. Big chops, and we did Trickster songs as well. But he had his drums, and then he had we actually played a couple other shows too, some festivals in the United States. But he had he had his cheat sheets basically taped to his drum set. I mean, I would too. I would say, hey, look, singers got teleprompters sometimes too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've seen it.
So this guy, he'd have notes, like written notes all over his bass drum, and a couple times he'd be playing and paper would be flying, and he'd be like, Eric, keep talking, which I have no problem of. And then he would go pick up his little notes. He was a great guy.
Okay, very cool. That's a funny story, though. I like that.
What?
I said that's a funny story, though. I like that. The drummer having to use notes.
I feel really bad that I can't remember his name at the moment. Maybe I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
He was a sweetheart of a guy. The guy that we have now. First of all, this band that went to Japan, it was just I just wanted to play. Right. And I called up a couple promoters that I knew, one huge promoter that I knew, and said, I just want to play in Japan. I just want to play some shows. And yeah, sure. What do you got? And I go, off the cuff. Yeah, it's called USA Pop Brigade. I don't know where I came up with that. There was a song by The Clash.
Yes.
And it had
Was it The Clash?
It was by The Clash. It was like UK Pop Brigade. And I went, USA Pop Brigade, that's it. So me, Steve, PJ, and I can't remember. I was gonna say Gus, but that's the Trickster drummer.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
No, not him.
No,
not that. He's an awesome drummer. We could have got him too. But anyway, so Joey Casada plays with us now. This is just like this is unlike the Winery Dogs vibe, but Winery Dogs is kind of legitimate. Me and PJ, Steve Brown, and the newer drummer Joey Casada. We played in a band called Z-Rock, right? Z-Rock's out of New York. Anyway, great drummer. Just wrote a book called Starts with a Dream about his life. Believe it or not, if you read about this guy, he's an interesting fella. Great, super great drummer. But anyway, the 4 of us, we don't have a name. It's just Eric Martin featuring PJ Farley, Steve Brown from Trickster, and the infamous Joey Casada. How about that name? You can't fit that on a marquee, so you just put Eric Martin, right? Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
But it's a side thing, and we play a bunch of gigs, and we're actually, me and Steve and PJ are writing a couple songs here and there.
Cool.
But I'm not in a rush.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean.
But I see. There's this name that I want to call the band, and they hate it. And I go, but it's kind of a comedy. It's a rock and roll band, but we have like way too much comedy and inside jokes and sarcasm and all that. So I go, how about Clown Royale or Clown Royal? Because these
Clown
guys,
Royal.
I have a glass. No, not a glass. I have a bottle of red backstage,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys, I look at them as kids because I've known these trickster guys since they were born. It seems like,
Mm-hmm.
but here's these kids, and they got like Crown Royal backstage. And I go, I don't know who drinks or Crown Royal, but I go, it's like I think my dad drank it with a cigar and a beagle and the slippers. And anyway,
Yeah.
so I was looking at the bottle, and I was, kind of 3 sheets to the wind and half in the bag, and I looked at it and I go, how about Clown Royal? And they go, you're an idiot. All right.
Hell yeah. Well, I tell you what, I mean, I only got to see the Eric Martin, PJ Farley acoustic show, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
I love the shit out of it, I mean, I love Mr. Big songs.
Oh, right on.
I love
that was
Trickster songs. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, that was kind of a fluke. I do these acoustic tours all the time in between Mr. Big or some of the other projects that I have, and I go to Europe a lot with this guitar player named David Cottrell, Cotterill, and which I never get right. I go Cotterill, and he goes, it's Cottrell, mate. Anyway, so David Cottrell and we do, we played in America, actually opened a Y&T, and it's like a really good guitar player, singer, and we fit together really well.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense to PJ, but I was looking at Steve Brown to maybe, come out and play with me in some gigs. And Steve was busy. I think he was playing with either Def Leppard or Dennis DeYoung. And PJ said, well, what about me? And I go, bass player, acoustic guitar, no solos. And I'm thinking, I go, you're on. I mean, look, I love solos, but look, you're talking to the guy who's heard like a lot of solos in his life. So I'm making a joke, but I just thought it would be kind of a cool little chemistry between the two of us, and I thought it was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, thank you. So you witnessed. I think we played a weekend's worth of shows, and we played in Milwaukee, Cincinnati, and
Illinois.
No, Illinois. That's right. Maybe it was a couple more, and then Richmond, Indiana.
Right.
But it was just a fluke, and it actually turned out pretty good.
Oh yeah, enjoyed it. I'd love to see it again. I'd love to see the full band thing. But definitely would go to the acoustic show too. So.
Oh, it's a great band. It is pretty great. I mean, it's a lot kind of silly comedy and some unraveling on stage sometimes, but musically, these guys are good. Steve Brown he's got like that wild and crazy kind of vibe, but
oh yeah,
he's an amazing guitar player.
Hell yeah, he is.
DJ, underrated bass player, and this guy Joey Casada, I gotta tell you, look him up.
Okay,
he's got a book called "Starts with a Dream" about him growing up, and also he's a huge Kiss fan, so there's a lot of that Kiss kind of stuff in the book. And he's done Broadway plays, and this band that he had, so Z-Rock, it was Pauly Z, David Z, and then him.
Oh, and I've heard of them before then. Okay. I knew that name sounded familiar. So.
Oh, it's first of all hilarious stuff because their story was these three guys, they played kids parties, rich family kids parties during the day, and they made big bucks, and then at night they would play these dingy bars, clubs in New York City and New Jersey, where some of them are from, and I think they're Brooklyn guys, and then they would play at night, and this company IFC, and I think Bravo was involved in that. They were they ran into these guys, and they were listening to their story, and they created a show that ran for, I don't know, 2 to 4 years, and it was called Z-Rock, and it's hilarious. I mean, they got like all these wrestlers on it, and you're like Dee Snider, and all these comedians, and it's their kind of life story, and it's not G-rated.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. But,
sounds like my kind of stuff, then.
First of all, guys who, the guys who love rock and roll and all the trimmings would love it.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
Anyway,
man.
yeah. So there he is again, Joey Casada.
Joey Casada. All right.
Yeah, great. And okay, I've said it before, but yeah, he is a great drummer. Sings. He's got that, and he kind of, but he looks like Sylvester Stallone's brother.
Okay.
with Fabio hair.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow!
and when he does listen to this, he's gonna go, "Hey, thanks, hey, how you doing, Eric? Thanks a lot, kid." Maybe not with that. Maybe not with that.
Well, cool. Well, definitely look forward to seeing the band thing, and all that good stuff. And then people can check you out. Eric Martin, of course, is on Facebook. What else you on? Twitter or anything like that?
Yep, got all that.
Okay. Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. So, and of course, you can get Mr. Big songs.
I don't have I have an Instagram account, but I
don't use it.
I was showing my partner, my songwriting partner, yesterday. He goes, "Do you have an Instagram account?" I go, "Yeah," and it's like Clown Royale something, and he goes, "You haven't posted anything in like 3 years." I'm like, yeah, I got a little busy.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I get the whole promotional tool about it, but
But sometimes you just don't have time. Yeah.
First of all, Facebook is enough. I feel it's like there used to be this thing in the 80s. It was like a little toy wristwatch thing. It was called a Tamagotchi, and then like it would have an alarm on it, and then you had to there was like a video game inside of it, and you had to feed this thing.
Yeah.
Right? You kind of remember that? Well, that's like Facebook to me. When I get fans and they write it, and I don't mind the little banter, just for, like when you offer to be a friend to somebody, they message you immediately, right? And then you go, "Thanks for friending me," and I go, "Oh, that's cool," and they, "What are you doing now?" And I'm like, give a little blurb, this is what I'm doing. Or if I'm actually, I'm sleeping, you're in Brazil or you're in Norway right now, right? Yeah, yes, I am. Okay, well, look at the time. It's fucking 4:00 in the morning for me. And I go, "And why am I writing?" Because I have no friends. No. So basically you're feeding, going back and forth. It's just like, I love the fans, but it's overwhelming. You have to be there constantly. So, I feel like maybe I'm a great babysitter. I don't know. Maybe that's what I should have been.
There you go.
I do have a couple of irons in the fire at the moment. I'm going on tour in 1 week, playing with a rock opera from Germany.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing it for about 3 years now. It's kind of like this. You got to look it up. Really great band. They're called Avantasia. Avantasa. Avantasia.
Okay.
And it's this guy Tobias Sammet. He's the brainchild, the creator of this whole thing. It's a kind of power metal German rock band, and then 7 singers from all over Europe and Canada, and 1 American, me, and it's all these guys that are in this metal, hard rock and metal bands. This guy Ronnie Atkins from a band called Pretty Maids. Bob Catley, the lead singer for the band Magnum from England. Oliver Hartmann, Germany. Jorn Landby, I want to say Norway. God, I hope it's Norway, because he's always saying he's a Viking, and I'm confused with Sweden and Norway. I don't know. Denmark.
Okay.
God, please be Denmark. Anyway, or maybe that's Ronnie Atkins. But then Jeff Tate from Queensryche in Canada. God, I'm telling you, there's like 6-7 people out on the road. And
that sounds amazing.
It's really great. It's metal. And they played nothing less than 7,000. And the most we played, we played to headline 90,000 people at Wacken in Germany in festivals 3 times.
Wow.
3, count them. 1, 2, what comes in? 3 times.
That's right.
And, and huge festivals all over mainly in Europe, but they play a lot of shows. And we're touring, I'm just going to tell you this off the bat. So it starts March 20th, and it goes to, it's like, Prague, Berlin, all over Germany, France, England, Switzerland, Spain. I'm looking at just really quick, Russia, Poland, Tokyo, Japan, about a handful of shows in Australia.
Wow.
Believe it or not, San Jose, California.
Nice.
What? I know. Anaheim, Chicago, Montreal, and then Worcester, Mass, and then Mexico, and then Argentina, and then Brazil, and then Spain. And look, man, this thing goes.
I was going to say, that sounds like a heck of a trek.
So March 20th, and I come home for about 2 weeks in June, right? And then go back out and don't come home until August 24th.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So
That's nice.
That's a long-ass tour.
Hell yeah. Shit, I'd love to see that. But, closest place to me, you'd be Chicago. That's not too far. It's 5 hours. So, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Man, make the trip. Hey, look, before I let you go, and you I'm just kidding. I remembered the
guy's
drummer.
name.
Yes, I do. And I'm glad I did. At the end of this conversation, his name is Rich Scannella.
Rich Scannella.
Okay?
And
he left an impression. It took me a little while to get it out, but I got his name out.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Very cool. Well, cool, man. Well, and I look forward to seeing some more acoustic stuff, in the future, and definitely, the full band thing. So I'll definitely be looking for that. And well, cool. Well, before we get off of here, go ahead.
Check out Avantasia.
Avantasia, yes, I will.
You guys will dig it.
I actually wrote it down, so.
All right, everybody, that about does it for episode number 90 of Blevins Nation. I want to thank Mr. Eric Martin for coming on to the show and talking about Mr. Big and Avantasia and also the Eric Martin Band. So, everybody, check out all the podcast on blevinsnation.com. I'm on iHeartRadio, Stitcher FM Player, and Google Play, iTunes, a little bit of everything. So, definitely check all that stuff out. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. Do not forget to check out the band V13. That's right. Facebook.com/V13 official. and give them some love. That's my new band, and have a CD coming out here. Well, actually an EP, and that should be released here in the next 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully. If not sooner. Got a video coming out, going to be hitting YouTube here in the next couple of weeks, and everybody check that out. Check out all the new music, especially check me out on Blevins Nation on rockrageradio.com every Sunday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm playing all the best in rock, old rock, new rock, and signed, unsigned, and independent. So definitely come by and stop by and check me out and check out all the new music. I'm going to be adding some new things to the podcast here before long, and to the radio show. So everybody definitely stay tuned and check that out. Got some big news coming for not only Blevins Nation, but also V13. Remember, kids, wherever you go, there you are.